The night was unforgiving. Wind sliced through the narrow alleys, carrying with it a bitter chill that seemed to sink into every bone. The city lights flickered, struggling to pierce the thick fog that had settled like a blanket of despair over the streets. Amid this darkness, a little boy, no more than 7, clutched his tiny sister tightly against his chest. Her teeth chattered, and tears streaked her dirt-smeared face. She was just a baby, too young to understand why the world had turned so cruel and cold. "Sir, please, my baby sister, she's freezing," the boy's small voice cracked, trembling with both fear and determination. He was on the verge of collapsing himself, but he knew he had to keep moving. Every step he took was an act of sheer will, carrying a fragile life wrapped in rags. In the distance, a sleek black car slowed as if sensing something. Behind its tinted windows sat a man whose presence alone demanded attention, a man with sharp eyes that seemed to see through walls, through lies, through the very souls of the people around him. He was the CEO of one of the largest companies in the country, a man accustomed to power and control, yet tonight, something stirred within him. Something he could not ignore. The little boy ran toward the car, hope and desperation mingling in his eyes. "Sir, my sister, she's freezing," he cried again, shivering uncontrollably. The CEO rolled down the window, and the cold wind immediately swirled around the boy, making him huddle tighter. The CEO leaned out, his coat catching the wind, and in a single, almost instinctive motion, he wrapped the boy and his sister in his own warm coat. It was too big for them, but for the first time in hours, they felt something close to safety. The warmth seeped into their frozen bodies, and the baby's cries softened into quiet whimpers. "Get in," the CEO said, his voice steady but gentle. There was no hesitation, no second thought. In his life, he had faced challenges, made decisions that affected thousands, but tonight, this small act of humanity felt more significant than any boardroom victory. The car door opened, and the little boy climbed in, holding his sister as if she were the most precious treasure in the world, which, in truth, she was. The CEO watched them carefully, noting every shiver, every tear, every gasp for warmth. His mind raced, not with strategies or profits, but with an unfamiliar thought. These children deserved more than this cruel, harsh world. As they drove through the empty streets, the boy looked up at the man who had just saved their lives. "Thank you, sir, thank you," he whispered, his voice so small it was almost drowned by the hum of the engine. The CEO didn't answer immediately. Instead, he glanced at the tiny girl wrapped against her brother's chest and felt a tug in his heart he hadn't felt in years. He thought of his own childhood, of the nights he had gone hungry, of the moments when no one had noticed him shivering in the cold. And in that instant, a decision formed, one that would change all their lives forever. He drove them to a place that would soon become a sanctuary, a home filled not with luxury, but with love and warmth, a place where innocence was protected and childhood could flourish. And as they settled inside, the little boy clung to his sister, whispering promises to keep her safe, just as the CEO had done for them tonight. Little did they know, this chance encounter would ignite a series of events that would transform not only their lives but the hearts of everyone around them, proving that even in a world consumed by greed and indifference, kindness could shine like a beacon. The next morning, sunlight filtered through the curtains of a modest, yet cozy apartment. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, the little boy and his sister awoke without the piercing cold of the streets. The CEO had ensured they were safe, providing warmth, food, and a sense of belonging they had never known. The little boy looked around, awe and cautious hope mingling in his eyes. "Is this really ours?" he asked, his voice trembling with disbelief. The CEO smiled, a rare softness in his usually stern features. "For now," he said, "and as long as you need it." Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The children began to flourish under the care of the CEO. He wasn't just a benefactor, he became a mentor, a guide, and, unexpectedly, a friend. The boy learned that strength wasn't always measured in power, and compassion could change the course of lives. The baby, now growing steadily, began to smile more, her laughter echoing through the apartment, filling spaces that had once known only despair. The CEO found himself transformed as well. His business dealings, his relentless pursuit of success, now carried a new purpose. He realized that true wealth was not counted in money, but in the lives you touch, the hearts you warm, and the hope you instill in those who have none. One day, the boy asked, "Why did you help us, sir? You didn't even know us." The CEO knelt down to meet his eyes. "Sometimes," he said softly, "you see someone in need, and you don't question it. You just act. That's what makes us human." Word of this extraordinary act spread quietly, inspiring others in the community. It was a story of warmth in a cold world, of hope born from kindness, and of a life forever changed by a single, selfless decision. As they all sat together, the CEO wrapping the children in the same coat he had used that night, he felt a profound sense of fulfillment. "Family," he said, "isn't just about blood. It's about love, care, and standing together when the world turns its back on you." And in that moment, the little boy, the baby girl, and the CEO realized that sometimes, the smallest gestures carry the greatest weight, and one act of compassion can create ripples that last a lifetime.